Right, very good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Fans React Friday. It's been a while. We've managed to, well, certainly since I've been sitting here chatting to you, lovely lot. Very good evening to you three gentlemen. Evening to everyone watching. It's a new year, so happy 2022 to everyone.
Let's hope it's a successful
Happy
one.
New Year.
Fingers crossed. Right, well, obviously we've got plenty to talk about tonight because, I mean, there's been plenty Sunderland-related goings on over the past few weeks. Plenty of games to sink our teeth into. Transfer windows open. New signings through the door already. So we've got plenty of stuff to talk about. But in order to facilitate an easy evening for our friend Gary, we are, I believe, going to start with the quiz this week.
Yeah. We'll do the quiz first. A little bit back to front. Normally do it at the end, but yeah, we'll do it at the start so Gary can present it. So I'm sorry, Johnny, to cut you hosting very short because you're doing a good job so far. But over to you, Gary, with the quiz.
Sorry, John. I'm obviously so excited about doing my quiz. I need to set the record straight because last time I set the quiz up, and although I wasn't able to join in, I was able to listen, and there was some slander from Jack Dodds about me actually cheating and doing my own quiz online. I was listening in the car and nearly crashed. I'm excited about being able to present my own quiz tonight and then prove I'm not cheating.
So Fans React Friday Revenge Edition then.
It's kind of, just to put Jack Dodds back in his place anyway.
Yeah,
Which is something we should all do.
He needs putting back in his place all the time. He's a right cheeky approach and such.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to this one because I've had a few weeks to think about it.
Awesome. So everyone, get yourselves in. I won't take part because I've helped Gary with the technology of writing it up on Kahoot. So I'm just going to sit back, but I can tell you it is a very, very good quiz. Probably the best, one of the best quizzes I think I've ever seen before. It's
that's a bold statement.
Some of the questions under the pressure.
Packing the pressure on early doors there.
Some of the questions were really, really good. So, yeah. Just get yourselves in.
Come on, let's have some more imaginative names than this.
Yeah. Get yourselves in. Everyone loves having nice conversations amongst themselves in the live chat. Plenty of hearts going.
Yeah, and very, very warm welcome to everyone in the live chat. And see plenty of messages coming through. So nice to see everyone back after a long hiatus.
Yeah. Johnny's headset has made it in the quiz.
You're welcome, lads. I'm back on the old, the ancient desktop PC instead of the laptop today. So it was headset or silence. And don't say you prefer silence.
No, of course not. Of course not.
That's what you get in Leeds, poor internet connection.
We only just discovered coal down here, man, Gary.
That is true. Very true.
So are you in, Johnny? You in, Ben?
Certainly
I'm in.
One of the boring names, so just me, boring old name.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll get started on the quiz because I think it's a little bit quiet this evening, but that's all right. It should pick up in a bit. Anyway, I'll get started, and Gary, you just take it away for us.
Yeah, no worries. Obviously, we've started a bit earlier, haven't we? But that might cut a few people out. That'll teach them. Get signed on. Get a beer. 7:00 Friday night. That's what it's all about. Look forward to the weekend. Right. First few questions. I've called this the topical five, so they're all relating to stuff that's happening here and now. Number one, when Wycombe were first promoted to the Football League in '93, their manager was also a Sunderland manager. Who was it? Grayson, O'Neill, Buxton, or Len Ashurst? Who got Wycombe promoted as their manager in '93? That was when they first entered the Football League. Which one of those four was it?
Well, the first name on that list just gives us horrendous amounts of nightmares. So,
bit of a mixed bag there. Yeah, it was Martin O'Neill. It was his first or second managerial job. So well done to people who got that. Well done, Jenny Ratter. Familiar name of Ian, right up there at the top as well. The next one is Wycombe related as well. We'll just wait for that one to come up. Given they're our rivals for tomorrow. So Josh Scowen, we all know about Josh Scowen. His league career started with Wycombe, He then moved to another club. He then moved to QPR before coming to Sunderland. Who was that second club in his career? Was it Luton, Reading, Huddersfield, or Barnsley? So who was he with before he went to QPR, and then Sunderland, and then back to Wycombe? He's gone full circle.
He's had a great career, to be fair.
Distinctly mid-level.
Yeah.
Good shout. 8 people got that. I thought it was a pretty difficult one. It was Barnsley.
Barnsley, yeah.
Yeah. And I'd forgotten he played for them. So Jenny Ratter still at the top. Acacia. Nice to see Acacia's name on there, particularly after I pronounced it wrongly when I saw her at Doncaster. Number 3. Right, this should be easy for all Sunderland fans. So far this year, we've played 24 matches. There's only one team we haven't yet met in the league. Who is that? Is it Fleetwood? Is it AFC Wimbledon? Is it Lincoln? Or is it Shrewsbury? We haven't yet played a league game this season against them. Which one of those 4 is it? I think tomorrow's the second time we've played Wycombe. We've played Sheffield Wednesday twice, Ipswich twice. We haven't played any of these in the league, though. Which one? It's Lincoln. Put right on Tuesday when we play them in the rearranged match. So well done. Is that right?
It's called off for internationals, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
That rings a bell early on in the season.
Yeah.
October, I think, or November. Well, change at the top. Well done, Acacia.
Jeez.
Again, familiar names at the top. Johnny just sneaking in 5th place. Noted.
Displacing the headset.
Right. Who did we sign last January as well as Winchester, Stewart and Jones? We signed a defender in the last January transfer window. Was it McFadzean? Was it Vokins? Was it Sanderson? Or was it Feeney? They all came in at some point last season, but who came in January as part of 4 transfer window signings?
Once again, some sparkling names there. I mean, Callum McFadzean.
It's like I wasn't too sure who's worse, Vokins or McFadzean.
Come on, it's McFadzean. Let's be fair.
It was Vokins.
Vokins.
Do you know what? I've completely forgotten about him.
Yeah.
I was going to say something about McFadzean, but I'm not going to say it because it might get me into trouble. So I'm not going to go there.
With that, Jenny's gone back to the top.
I don't want to go down that road of Callum McFadzean was all right, so I'm going to not say
Whoa.
Just wasn't.
No, I don't want to go anywhere down that road. That's what I meant.
It just wasn't. He was just rubbing.
No, he wasn't.
He's got to go for us.
I can't believe what I'm hearing here.
Okay, African Cup of Nations starts next week. Which one of these following African nations has never had a player from Sunderland playing from? When I say from Sunderland, I mean a Sunderland player from that country, obviously. So we've had players from, not from all of them, but Zimbabwe, Gabon, the Ivory Coast, and Cameroon. Take your pick. Which one of those countries hasn't had a Sunderland player represent them?
Was Benjani from Zimbabwe?
Asking questions about the quiz during the quiz. That's
I'm not taking part, mate. I'm not taking part.
Yeah, he was. Ivory Coast, as far as I'm aware, we've not had anybody from Ivory Coast represent us.
Oh, that one's tripped me up, that.
And
we
Dom
had a version of
Gabon. And Cameroon, we had Patrick Mbomba under Reedy, late 90s. But yeah, you can watch the African Cup of Nations to see how our old friend Ndong is doing.
Oh, God.
Fancy? Or Didier, still our highest record signing.
That's a genuine travesty.
We could have had with that money, yeah, you're not kidding.
I've got nothing nice to say about Ndong, so don't worry, I'm not going to say anything.
Thank God.
Okay, so those were the topical 6. Next 6 are all next 5 questions, I should say, are all to do with loanees. Elliot Embleton, we all know he got Blackpool promoted or helped get Blackpool promoted last season, but he's also had a quite long loan out at another EFL club. Who was it? Was it Grimsby? Was it Forest Green? Was it Scunthorpe? Or was it Port Vale? He was there 2 or 3 years ago for an extended period.
Elliot Embleton was in my year at school.
Was he really?
Shout out St Leonard's Catholic School in Durham, yeah.
Good shout, yeah. So no excuses for getting this wrong.
Definitely not.
Yeah, he had a successful time at Grimsby. Did very well there, apparently. So yeah, 9 people got that.
Played with Frankie's friend Danny Collins at Grimsby as well, I believe, didn't they?
Yeah, I think he did.
I've been on a load of the Grimsby town, Danny.
Yeah, we've got a few Grimsby connections. They used to be our rivals. We used to play them a lot. Just a few years ago, regular trips down to Blundell Park.
Black and white as well.
Black and white with red socks, very bizarre.
Yeah, on the saving grace. Singing the Findus. Question 7. Jimmy Dunn, we had on loan a few years back. You might remember. Who's he playing for these days? Is he still playing with Burnley? Or is he at Fleetwood? Is he at Millwall? Or is he at QPR? And there he is in all his glory, with William Grigg in the background. Another picture to excite you for the weekend. Bring tears to your eyes.
God, that game was awful.
Who's the opposition?
Oxford.
Oxford, isn't it? Yeah.
He is playing for QPR, which I didn't realise until we played them in the League Cup. That's where he's ended up.
He scored. I believe he scored the winning penalty for them in a penalty shootout, like the round before QPR played us. I'm pretty sure.
I'm sure I've seen his name pop up somewhere. Like,
yeah, nice to see him doing okay. I thought he was a half decent defender.
Yeah, I thought it was good.
Johnny's headset is back in the top 5. I'm pleased to say, and chasing after you, Johnny. Up there in second place. Right, question 8. Another one of our former loanees, Lewis Morgan. I'm sure we all remember him. Bit of a gobshite, apparently, but that's another story. He's in the MLS. Who's he playing with in the MLS? Is it Inter Miami? Is it New York Red Bulls? Is it Fort Lauderdale? Or is it DC United? Who's he playing for currently? In warmer climes, I presume. Actually, might not be.
Can I just say, people are going to jump. People are going to jump to one answer, but it's not actually what you think it is. It's New York Red Bulls. He got drafted recently, I think. Or, well, that's what they call it in America.
Oh.
Well done.
One person got that right.
Right.
Yeah, he moved recently from Inter Miami to New York Red Bulls.
Yeah.
Bit of a trick question. That one.
What's out there, Gary? Good one.
Yeah.
Not his first rodeo.
I was worried I was making these too easy, so I've got to throw a few curveballs in just to keep it entertaining. Right, if you read an article in The Athletic recently about Hoffman, you'll know the answer to this. Whose house is he living at the moment? Who's his landlord? Has a Sunderland connection? Is it Jordan Henderson? Is it Aidan McGeady? Is it Jordan Pickford? Or is it Max Power? Who's Hoffman's landlord? He's living in his house at the moment.
Hoffman's articles are brilliant, by the way. Well worth a read.
It was a good article, yeah. Yeah, it comes across very well, I think.
Yeah.
And the answer is Jordan Henderson. Arranged through Henderson's dad, apparently. Introduced from the club. So that's whose house he's living in at the moment.
Definitely not Max
Power. Didn't know
Power.
it. It was just going to be a complete guess if you didn't know the answer. So, yeah. There you go. I think that's the own questions. And Johnny's gone top on that one. The Athletic, obviously.
That one,
which I think is really good.
Best thing ever.
Yeah, I've got subscriptions. Very good. Right, this one will make some of you work. Your math skills. We've got 5 loanee players in our squad at the moment. If you add all the numbers up, what would the total be? Would it be between 30 and 40, 40 and 50, 50 and 60, or 60 and 70? So just as a clue, Callum Doyle is number 6. He's one of them. But if you add the rest of them up as well, and there's Broadhead, so that's another clue. What would it add up to in total?
I don't think I gave him enough time for this.
That's a tricky one.
I'll take 30, 40.
Oh, right.
The exact answer is 66. And it's all because Hoffman's number is it 38?
Yeah, Hoffman, yeah. I knew it was one of the higher two.
Because we've got 5, 6, 7, and 9, and then 38, 39, whatever. There you go. Another curveball for you.
I can see you've tried to make it easier with like a number range, but I think all that did was just twist of our brains even more.
I love a bit of maths. I'll throw a few more of them in the future.
30 seconds.
Before the beers start flowing. So Jenny's gone back to the top, or was Jenny still at the top from before? Either way, well done, Jenny Ratter. Right, some ancient history, some questions that I sort of got a historical slant on them. Starting with our manager. He took Bristol City to a League Cup semi a few years ago. He beat 4 Premier League teams on the way there. Which year, though? Was it 16, 17, 18, or 19? They got knocked out by Man City, who were obviously the winners in the semi-final, but they meet Man United, the holders, on the way. Great run for him. How long ago was it?
Oh, what a guess.
Yeah, 2018.
What a guess.
Quite an even split there, isn't there? I wouldn't have guessed that. I thought it was longer, but yeah, 2018 did really well. I think they were 1-0 up at the Etihad at half time as well. First time he really came to my attention, Johnson, I think. I think Mandy's moved up there in the league. Excuse me. And here's one to bring you out in a cold sweat. So, 2020, we drew to all with Gillingham on, I think, the 7th of March. And a week later, the league was curtailed. If we hadn't conceded that last-minute equaliser from Gillingham, where would we have ended up at the point the league was stopped? Now, I'm not saying it would have been any difference. It went to points per game. We would have still played the same number of games. But where would we have been in the league at the time it stopped?
What is that? Yeah,
we would have third.
Jesus.
Just for the sake of that 2 points, they would have found it difficult to push us out of the playoffs then, wouldn't it?
They'd have found summit.
And Wickham finished third, didn't they, on points per game?
Yeah, but they originally were 6th. I think we were 7th.
They were 8th?
Yeah, they were 8th.
Yeah,
so
they were 8th.
Jesus, we'll teach them tomorrow.
Points per game didn't help them last season.
Never forgive them for that.
Still the same?
Yeah. Okay, question 13. Question regarding the playoffs. I know you youngsters won't remember this, but in 1990, we famously beat the Mags. There you go. There's Gabbiadini scoring against them. And then we lost to Swindon, but got promoted anyway. Who were the 4th team in the playoffs? Who did Swindon beat to meet us in the final? Was it Borough? Was it Blackburn? Was it Derby? Or was it Watford? Who were the 4th team? They were probably the only team who weren't in the mix to get promoted when Swindon got relegated. It was Blackburn.
It's a good guess.
These are really difficult to
These are tricky, these.
Yeah.
That was 4 or 5 years before they won the Premier League. So they were just pushing for promotion at that point. But yeah, and we were the ones who got sent up. Much to the annoyance of the Mags. Which was a bonus. Okay, I don't think we've had too many changes at the top. Acacia, you're slipping down the board a little bit. Let's hope you can improve in the last 6-7 questions. Okay, and here's another one for the old timers.
Really
further back in time. Willie Watson. You should have heard of Willie Watson. He had a sports shop in Sunderland Town Centre in the 50s, apparently. He made over 200 appearances for us, and he played for England as well at football. But he also played for England at another sport. Was it rugby? Was it cricket? Was it hockey? Or was it basketball? So I'm not too sure too many people have done this. He played for England at football, and he also played international level in another sport. But what sport was it? Oh, well done. 10 of you got that. I think that might have been a lucky guess for 1 or 2 people. But yeah, he was a first-class cricketer as well.
You do find that with a lot of footballers. A lot of them play cricket as well, don't they?
Interestingly, Gary Neville once scored a century alongside Matthew Hayden, the Australian batsman, while they were both playing for a local side in England once when they were younger.
Really?
So there you go. Bit of useless information about Gary Neville that you'll never need to know.
Very sporting family, though, aren't they?
Oh, yeah.
Neville's brood.
That's a brilliant name.
Is it hockey the sister plays?
Yeah, I think it is actually.
No, she plays at international level as well, doesn't she? Okay. Still pretty tight at the top there. 5 questions to go, and they're not getting any easier, I can promise you that.
No. What the heck?
I wasn't born this, despite what Matthew might tell you. But in 1895, we played in a match. We were league champions in England. We played the Scottish champions, and the press called it the unofficial championship of world football, which we won. I think it was 5-2 scoreline. But who did we play? Who were the Scottish champions? Was it Hearts, Queen's Park? Was it Celtic? Or was it Hibs? Who did we beat to become world champions in 1895?
Oh, what a guess.
That's a real...
Considering I haven't got a clue.
I'm not too sure.
Nobody knows.
Let alone 1895.
Oh, no.
Why did you have to include Celtic? I would have happily gone with anyone else if you hadn't included Celtic.
We actually won that kind of competition 3 times. We could say we're 3 times champions. Hey, I'm going to use it, even if nobody else does.
To be fair, actually, quite not like that many English football teams were founded like before 1895, so that's pretty good. You know, just shows how old Sunderland are. So think of it like that.
Yeah, I think we did beat Celtic in one of the earlier rounds, but one of the earlier games. But anyway, so Ross Stewart currently joint top scorer with Cole Stockton of League One. One current player, has actually finished top scorer in League One 3 times in the last 16 seasons. So who is it? Which current player has been top scorer in League One 3 times? Is it Billy Sharp? Is it Will Grigg? Can't say that without laughing. Not Will Grigg. Is it Johnson Clark Harris or is it Jordan Rhodes? It's Billy Sharp.
Oh, I thought it was either him or Clark Harris, but I went with Clark Harris. But flipping Billy.
Yeah, Billy Sharp. And he's still playing. I think that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Great career.
Yeah. All 3 times at Sheffield United, obviously.
Very good.
Another one to get you thinking. Well done to this top 5, hanging in there. Question 17. Right, this was my favourite question. 4 Sunderland strikers. They all played for us on a permanent contract. None of them were loans. But only one of them actually scored more goals for us, playing for us, than they did against us with the opposition. Does that make sense?
Yes.
They all played for us, but only one of them actually scored more goals for Sunderland than they did against Sunderland. Frank Worthington, Mick Harford, David Kelly, Keith Birchin.
I don't know anyone apart from Mick Harford there, if I'm honest.
These are very much for your 80s and 90s fans, those ones. The answer is Keith Birchin. He scored 8 goals against us with, I think, 3 different clubs, but he managed to score 10 for us, even though he's pretty useless. He was probably late 80s. He was a bit Aidan O'Brien-ish, I'll put it. We didn't really know what to do with him, but he was capable of bagging a few.
Which Aidan O'Brien is not capable of.
He hasn't scored any own goals as yet. I don't want to tempt fate. So yeah, that was one to get you thinking. Right, here's another one for you. Now I think 3 British footballers have done this. There's a bit of a clue in there. But who's the only British footballer to win the Golden Boot? Right.
Oh, please say that's deliberate.
Somewhere in the process.
Oh, very nice.
I think a little error's been made, but I can't.
I think my
fingers deliberate or not. Take your pick. Owen, McCoist, Lineker, or that other bloke. It was Ali McCoist.
One Englishman win the Golden Boot.
So ex-Sunderland. Phillips has done it. McCoist has done it, and some Welsh footballers done it. But it certainly wasn't anal. For all he goes on about his records, he doesn't talk about that on Match of the Day, does he?
No.
And those who went for him should be ashamed of yourselves, all 5 of you. You see if that's affect the leaderboard.
Wow.
Well, tight up there. Come on, Johnny's headset. I want to see Johnny's headset overtake Johnny.
Yeah, Johnny, if you can't
I
beat
get the
your own
feeling a lot of
headset,
people want to see that.
if you can't beat your own headset, then you got to start having words with yourself.
I
man.
know. It would be a real embarrassment, that. You'd be pleased to know I'm getting plenty of abuse off my mates for the headset as well.
Good. Right, I know Matthew liked this one. So
Yeah.
Corey Evans, he's emulated something done by 3 other Sunderland players, maybe more, 3 that I know of. So Marco Gabbiadini, Anthony Smith, and Billy Hughes have all got something in common to do with Sunderland. And Corey Evans has now joined that group. What is it? Is it that he's played for Sunderland, same as his brother has? Is it that he's captained his country while being at Sunderland? Is he acted as emergency linesman in an under-18 fixture? There's your answer.
Johnny Evans was at the Sunderland Sheffield Wednesday game, wasn't he? If you've seen
That's
that on
what
Twitter.
reminded
Yeah,
me.
I saw that on Twitter,
Yeah.
Very good.
So Ricardo Gabbiadini, Dan Smith, John Hughes.
Johnny! No!
There you go.
Oh, Johnny.
No.
My wish has come through with one question left.
Oh, it's tight.
All
Is
done
it
in
double points on the last one?
just
Yeah.
in aid of Gary, really. I was just made sure I lost that question.
Right. I don't know how many people will know this. Where did ALS get its name from? I love Supreme. It came from a jazz musician, but was it Dizzy Gillespie, Miles Davis, John Coltrane, or Duke Ellington? How well do you know your 1950s jazz albums, lads?
I was just flicking through my collection of them just before we came on, actually, so I should be a piece of piss this.
Johnny, I said jazz, by the way.
It was John Coltrane.
Only one person got it. You should know that.
Oh, please tell me it was Johnny's
So
headset.
it might look, it'll be the headset, won't it? Yeah.
Yeah, well done, everybody. I had a bit of fun with that one. Jenny came in third, having been a long time leader. Well done, Jenny
Well
Raptor.
done, Jenny.
Ian, well done, Ian.
Oh.
Nowhere. Johnny's headset is going to win.
Yeah!
Excellent. Well done, Johnny's headset.
Hey, I'll take that. My first victory. Thank you very much.
Hey, you've absolutely had my life there, Ben.
I did note, by the way, only 8
know
questions
what?
out of 20, even for the winners. So maybe I went a bit too hard this week. Maybe I need to dial it down a bit the next time.
Well, I mean, I only got 8 out of 20 and somehow I came first. So, you know, it's not exactly a victory to be proud of.
I noticed a few of them you pointed out were guesses as well, so the luck's been on your side as well.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I had fun with it anyway.
Yeah, nice.
Cheers.
Well, thank you very much, Gary, for making
Yeah, good quiz.
Yeah, thank you very much, Gary. Right, now the fun's over. Should we move on to the
Yes.
business of actually talking about this wonderful football club?
all the
So,
boring stuff.
yeah. Well, I think probably the first place we should start then is have a little bit of an evaluation of where we feel like we are after the few games that we've played since the last time we all gathered together. We've had some pretty good results. Obviously 5-0 against Sheffield Wednesday probably being the highlight of that. Matthew, if you don't mind starting, where would you sort of put us now? Where do you think we are going into the new year?
Well, to be honest, we went into the new year top of the league, and I think through that patch of and everyone's saying LJ out, it was a bad run. It wasn't just a bad run; it was a really bad run. Like, we were getting absolutely smashed and destroyed. But you know what? Things like that can happen in a season. And I think, when we're rating the season, out of 10, halfway point, if you finish the season top of the league, half the season, you get that halfway point, you're top of the league, then, you've done everything that you can do. You are then the best team in the league. Granted, obviously, we've played a few more games than the other teams, but still, being top of the league was absolutely brilliant, and a great way to do it with one of the best performances I think I've ever seen. It wasn't that Sheffield Wednesday were really bad, because when the game started off, I thought that they were actually I thought they were just starting off the better team, and I thought, this could be a really, really tough game here. And in my head, I was thinking, do you know what? I'd probably take a draw here. And then we scored, and then the goals just kept going in. Everything, every chance that we got went on target, and I think that's a great example of when you take your chances. And the goals that we scored, the Ross Stewart's second one, goal of the evening for me. to win it back like that and to get yourself in that position, but then finish it as well, because how many times have we got ourselves in good positions and not scored? It's been happening season after season, and but no, I think it's really, really good. Great for a clean sheet as well. So yeah, I think just taking that into the new year has been really, really good. It's going to be a tough challenge tomorrow, but to be honest with you, I'm really, really happy. Do you know what? If we have the exact same second half of the season, first half of the season, I mean, how many points did we go into the new year on? How many points are we on now? 49, is it? Or 50? What is it? What we're on now?
I can't remember.
Do you know? Does anyone know? Because I think
we're on 49 at the minute, Matt.
Hull City won the league last season on under 90 points. If we have the same half season as we did the first half, even not as good, maybe even just a little bit worse, we'd probably still be all right to get automatic promotion. So just keep this up, take every game as it goes, and the team can do it. So I've been really, really pleased, to be honest, Johnny. Yeah,
excellent stuff. Ben, what do you think? Agreement, disagreement?
Well, I've got to agree. Yeah, I mean, obviously, like Matt said, there was a bit of oohing and ahhing about Johnson, but the streaks were bound to come, and just glad that we're on the back end of it now. We've seen in the year in top. I don't think we could have asked for anything better, really. So I'm encouraged. Seem to be playing a lot better football at the minute. I thought I was a bit worried about that defeat to Arsenal. I didn't know how the players would react. Even though we did play well, getting beat 5-1 is not exactly what you want. But we've scored 8 goals and not conceded in the 2 games that we played after. So they seem to be getting together at the right time, a bit more clinical in front of goal. I still think that sort of the balls in the final third can be a bit better. But I mean, on the whole, you've got to be pretty skeptical to say that you're not pleased that we're, top of the league. We're second now, but I think we've done very well, and let's hope it continues.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can I just make a point on the Arsenal game, because it's something I just completely forgot about? The way players reacted. Do you know what I thought? I think the Arsenal game actually did us the world of good, and the reason why I say that is because the feeling that we got from playing at the Emirates, and you know what as well? Okay, I know we got beat 5-1. However, I don't think that was actually a very fair reflection on the game itself. I thought for a good portion of the game, we were giving Arsenal a really, really good game. And half-time came at the completely wrong time for us, because I actually think it was all us, that we were playing some really good football. Our goal, it wasn't just sort of we scrambled it over the line and, it wasn't one of the bouncing around the box and someone's managed to smash it in. It was a brilliantly well-worked goal. And I think that confidence of the players to put our players side by side with world-class players, I think it was really, really good. I think the whole team, I walked out there with my head held high. I think all the players should have walked out there with their head held high, and we did a really, really good job. And I believe if Broadhead didn't get injured in that match, I reckon we could have come out the second half and given them a really, really good game.
It changed the game when he went off, didn't it? Really?
100%.
It was like,
100%.
Even just the psychological impact on the rest of the players when your best player has to go off.
Of course, and I just think it's one of those things, really. But all we could have done is, we weren't expecting to win at the Emirates, but what we could have done is go there, give it our best effort, and whatever happens. And you know what? We went there, we gave it our all. We got to celebrate a goal, and when that ball crossed the line, I've never obviously, I've been to Sunderland games all my life, but I don't think I've ever experienced celebrations quite like that. It went absolutely nuts. It was brilliant, and it made me really, really happy. To be honest with you, I was happy, and we were singing, through the streets of London after that with some of the fans. It was brilliant. I don't care. We could have lost 10-1 for all I care, but you know what? I think it actually did us the world of good. So that's what I think about it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it was a statement. The performance was a statement, I thought. It was obviously, like you say, 5-1. It's not very flattering, is it? But to go and sort of go pretty much toe-to-toe with the team challenging for the top 4 for at least 45 minutes, and you can argue exactly how much of the game, we were equal to them and how much we got beaten in. But it says a lot. I mean, if you play that sort of football more often than not, you're not going to stay in League One very, very long, are you? No. Right, Gary, last but definitely not least, what do you think about the last few weeks?
I'm nodding away with everything all three of you said, really, particularly about the Arsenal game. I agree with Matthew. I think it did us the world of good. You're right. You look at it on paper, and it could have been a real knock to the confidence, but I don't think it was. Obviously, was exceptional on the night with his finishing. One or two of the goals, you've got to look at our defending, how sharp we were, but we don't play that level of football week in, week out, and it just showed the difference between Premier League and League One, in truth. But Johnson, for all I've got my reservations about him, clearly has a style of play in mind, and he expects things from his footballers, and they did that on that night. They stepped up. Pritchard looked quality, didn't look out of place. Embleton played an absolutely superb ball. We shouldn't forget into Broadhead for the finish. Stewart put himself about well. I think across the pitch there were some really good performances, and I suspect a lot of players maybe have come out of that thinking, well, there's a bit more belief in the manager, because actually the style of football matched Arsenal. That's not in feet, is it? We didn't, as we've said, we didn't resort to long balls. We didn't resort to playing 10 men in defence. We tried to match them. Now, we were always going to lose in that situation, but it was a learning experience for the team, and particularly for the young players. So I think they might have got a lot out of it, and I think it probably took them into the Doncaster game with a bit of belief. And as for Christmas itself, I can't think of Sunderland being what we are. You always expect us to get tripped up somewhere, and Christmas results are notorious. Even in the season where we got 105 points under Peter Reid, I remember us losing to Tranmere on Boxing Day, one of only 3 defeats all season. It's the kind of thing that sticks in my mind. For us to win both games, the third was postponed. But to win both games, both with clean sheets and both so emphatically, great Christmas, fantastic. I think we went in with a lot of confidence, playing good football, and despite the injuries, second in the table and only a point behind Rotherham. I'd have settled for that a couple of months ago. So, big thumbs up from me.
Excellent. Yeah, I mean, I agree with pretty much everything you've all said. It's been a pretty fantastic month to be a Sunderland supporter for a change. Blot on the copybook of Arsenal to one side, and even that you can take plenty of positives out of. So sticking on the theme of talking about fixtures and results, I noticed a question in the chat from, I don't know what that name is supposed to be, CADINDC. Hello. But they've asked, how many points would you like out of the next 5? And if you look at the next 5 games, I've got them up here. Obviously, we've got Wickham away tomorrow, Lincoln at home, Accrington away, Portsmouth at home, and Bolton away. So as a set of 5 fixtures, I'd say that's got some fairly testing challenges in terms of a promotion challenge in League One. So if you were, gun to your head, if you had to set a points target, I know it's obviously not as simple as that, but if you were to set a points target, what would you be looking at, do you think, from that 5 games?
I think we should be beating. Obviously, I think every team there. I think the hardest out of those will probably be, also tomorrow as well is going to be a tough game. I know. I think we might get onto it later, but obviously Sunderland have been hit by COVID, so we've had to emergency recall a few players. So I think tomorrow might be quite a difficult game, more difficult than what we first imagined. But if we manage to get a win tomorrow, I think we should be winning every single other game. When it comes to the Portsmouth game, now we always have quite a good game against Portsmouth. We've got this silly little rivalry for some reason with them, which is just ridiculous. So it makes us want to beat them even more. But you know what? I'm confident that we'll actually beat Portsmouth this time round. I want to say, how many is it? It's five games there, wasn't it?
5 games, 5 games.
Yeah. So I'd probably say 15. 15 out of those, and it's maximum points at the end of the day. But this is the kind of expectations you've got to set to get promoted, because I think too many times in the last few seasons we've gone, do you know, we'll take a draw there, and we'll take we'll take that, and we'll take this, and look how far it got us. You need to set the expectations high and just say, it's nothing. You can't expect to go to Wickham Wanderers, who, the highest they've ever been is the Championship, and they almost cheated that. You can't go there and just think, we'll have a draw. I know we have this thing of we're Sunderland, but we are Sunderland, and we need to beat these teams. So listen, at those, honestly, I'm going to say maximum points. To be honest, maximum points.
So extreme confidence to start us off. Who wants to follow that prediction?
That's my expectation.
I'll knock him down. I'll knock
Yeah,
that.
I'll pick up the low, and then I'll get the somewhere in between.
Yeah, and let Ben pick up the pieces.
Yeah.
Voice of reason. No, I'm joking. I'll just if I had to put a target on, so there's that thing about, isn't there, about 2 points per game on average. If you keep that kind of average, you're there or thereabouts, aren't you? Come the end of the season, we're there now, and I'd be quite happy if it was 2 wins and 3 draws. Even that would be have us there or thereabouts. So providing we keep on with this good run, we keep playing good football. And a bigger thing for me, and I say this, it's a bit like manager speak, but I say this in all honesty, January is actually more about who we bring in for me, or at least the equal of the results. Wickham away is always going to be a toughie. If we get something there tomorrow, and I'll be happy with the draw, then that takes us into good stead for Lincoln.
Yeah.
Provided we don't lose anybody else to COVID, I expect us to beat Lincoln. I expect us to beat Portsmouth. Our home record is absolutely outstanding.
Yeah.
I probably expect us to beat Bolton. I think we kind of owe them a little bit, even though we beat them at home. It was hard work. Probably the game we'll struggle with. It's probably likely to be Accrington. Smaller pitches, a compact stadium. They make it difficult against us because they always do, and they know how to play against us. So if we get 10 points or thereabouts from 5 games, count me in. I'm all for that. That's good enough for me.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I want to see the squad bolstered because this is our chance to push on.
Yeah. I find it funny as well how you mentioned Accrington as the one game out of the 5 to be scared of, because it feels like a very Sunderland game to go and slip up in, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Accrington away in the middle of a load of tough teams. It would be just like us to turn Wickham, Lincoln, and Portsmouth over and go and somehow ship 3 dodgy goals at Accrington, wouldn't it?
It was like that last season. We're on this really good run, and we went to Crewe, and we just we're getting beat 2-0 at half time, and it was like the world turned upside down. You're like, what happened? So we've got to be careful. Gary's right, to be honest. You've got to be careful of that.
Right, Ben, picking up the pieces somewhere in the middle.
Go on then.
You know what? I feel like I might be a little bit more negative than Gary. And I'm surprised. I am surprised, but I'm trying to put my real cap on, I think there's a potential for a few banana skins with these next 5. What I hope is that obviously, we're playing good football at the minute, so hopefully that should see us, maximum would be great. But Wickham tomorrow, I think that's going to be a very tough game, especially with our depleted squad at the minute. I think it could quite easily be a thumping. Humping not. I'll take a draw right now. I mean, Lincoln at home, we should beat them. Accrington and Portsmouth. I mean, Portsmouth have always been our bogey team. And Accrington's never really been a good place to go. But I think we are a much improved team, this time in League One. So I think we'll probably get about 11, I'd think. But in the back of my mind, I'm also thinking
maybe 8.
7 or 8, maybe.
Yeah, or 0.
Yeah, I think
or 0. Yeah.
What you said there was that you think we're a good League One, like a good League One side, and actually one of the top sides in the division. And I think this sort of run of 5 games is where that gets tested, doesn't it? Because circle back to what Matthew said, you kind of, well, if you want to win the league, if you want to get promoted, you kind of have to think you can beat anyone. And I think on our day, we can beat anyone in this division. So if I looked at each of those 5 games individually, I'd say, we'll beat them, we'll beat them, we'll beat them. But then when you think of it in a run of games, and you know what we're like as a club, and there's the trials and tribulations of a League One season or like a Football League season where you've got more games and midweeks, and there's COVID call-outs and all sorts of things going on. You do just have that doubt in the back of your mind, I think, don't you? But
it would just be typical Sunderland to get beat 3 of them 5. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But let's hope we don't.
I don't think we will. I'm just saying it could. But
you're always going to set yourself up for the worst for this club.
Yeah.
But another thing that
honestly,
I don't know what's happened.
Just remember that point is backed up because Lee Johnson's just won manager of the month, and we know what happened after our
manager of the month. 100%.
It just slowly declines. Well, not slowly, very quickly declines straight after.
Yeah, not like he's known for going on streaks of results or anything either. So
no, that's a good job, isn't
it? Okay, so something that everybody's mentioned and we do need to discuss is obviously we've heard the news today that we've had 3 sort of emergency loan recalls. I think it's Diamond, Patterson, and
Hawks.
Hawks, yeah, who've all effectively been given a 1-game, license to come back there to be in the squad for the game tomorrow, because we've got, as of yet, unknown number and identities of COVID cases, which obviously is not what you want to hear, because if that spread through the squad, then all of a sudden you're getting games called off. But what's everyone's thoughts then on how that's going to, play into the game tomorrow and potentially the next few weeks as a whole? I mean, for my part, that I can sort of take it or leave it with the squad selection, really. I feel like we're at a point now where few players in, few players out shouldn't make a huge difference now that we've got a style of play looking somewhat embedded. But I really liked that Speakman came out and said, in as many words, basically said, we don't want any games called off. We want to play every game when it comes. Almost a sort of calling out of the other clubs in the league who seem to, have a couple of sniffles in the dressing room and get 2 games called off. So,
or he doesn't want to turn down the Sky TV fee.
Well, yeah,
that's
healthy boost. But I personally would very happily see no more games postponed for COVID for the rest of their life. But especially the rest of this season, I think it's the last thing we need. So, what's everyone's thoughts?
Well, I mean, it might just be a rumor, but I did hear early on today that both Burge and Hoffman have got COVID.
Jack Shaw in the chat says that it looks like apparently at least Hoffman has COVID. So whether Burge does or not, it looks like it's either him or Patterson who'll be playing in goal.
So that would explain that one. Obviously, we don't know. We're just speculating. But Alves was confirmed early in the week as having it. He was one of our subs against Wednesday.
Yeah.
Another one was Will Harris, who we've let go out on loan. Although what he makes of development since is we don't know. It does leave us a bit depleted. It would leave us Oliver Younger, Kimpioka, Denver Hume, Sirkin, and Burge. This is the subs from Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah.
So obviously, we're struggling out. We're struggling to get a squad together. So it kind of makes sense. If you're Jack Diamond or Josh Hawks, then you're coming back down and thinking, what an opportunity.
Yeah.
What an opportunity to step up and step in. So I think it's really good for them lads. Like I say, I'm just a little bit worried about what Will Harris makes of it.
Yeah, it's unfortunate timing for him, isn't it?
It is really, isn't it?
But I like the point you make, though, about it being a big opportunity for, obviously, any of them who, if they end up getting on the pitch, of the younger lads who've come back. But I think also, as well, we've talked a good game since the new ownership and Speakman and what have you have come in about pathways for the younger players, and we want to be a club that develops young talents. But, imagine you're a young player in a Premier League academy. I mean, those clubs can't wait to get games called off rather than use a single academy player, even on the bench. So it must be a big statement of confidence and a big, you must take a lot of heart from it if you're one of our academy players and think, actually, they do believe in us. They would rather give us a game than have it cancelled, which can't be a great feel if you think that you're so bad. They would rather not play the game than have you in the squad.
I think that's a fantastic point.
The thing I'm worried about is that Wickham tends to not really be a football game. It tends to be more of like the Hunger Games, but like
especially with Akinfenwa on the pitch.
Well, exactly. When we do play at their stadium or their house or whatever you want to call it, Adams Park,
their car park.
Their car park.
Car park, sold out.
Well done, Johnny. That's the one. We won't be in the car park because it's all sold out, unfortunately. But no, listen. I think it's one of these things. It's like when we saw like Dayaku play against like Ipswich and against Portsmouth. It's like, he's used to sort of just playing all this fancy football and everything like that. But you can't do that. You can't do that in these kinds of games. And I think a lot of players are going to get a bit of a shock where, I remember when we played at Wickham a few seasons ago, and Watmore equalised in the last minute. That was like that was not a football game. There were like 3 send-ins off. I just remember us literally getting bullied by Wickham, not on the ball, but they just kept pushing and they were a physical team. That's the way they play. And I think we've got to be really, really prepared for that. So I think for young players, you can talk about the talent that they have and everything, but when it comes to, playing on that pitch, it's going to be a really, really physical game. But, I think, I'm a bit disappointed Will Harris won't be able to play in this game, because when he's come on, I think he came on against Cambridge, he looked really, really good. well, not really, but he looked decent enough. You know, he looked like he didn't look like what would be, like a reserve player or an academy player. He looked like he belonged, in that team. He came on and played like a first team player. I'd rather bring him on than the likes of Aidan O'Brien, for example. So I am a little bit disappointed with that. But look, I think what I said to someone earlier, I said, as long as we've got Flanagan and Ross Stewart, I said, I think we'll do all right. But I think it's just, if we lose Ross Stewart, that's a big problem.
Let's not even speak it into existence.
No,
he's going to have a fantastic season to score 35.
Oh, exactly. If he gets injured, then that is a big problem.
Yeah, I think everyone had a feeling in the back of their minds when we started going on a good run that we could lose Stewart or Broadhead.
Yeah.
Cope. But if we lose both, then obviously we're
really
up a creek without a paddle.
Definitely not. I think. Do you know? I think Ross Stewart will be really, really good in this game because he literally wins everything. Like anything comes up to him, he wins everything. I remember an Arsenal fan saying to me after the Arsenal Sunderland game, he says that big lad up front, he literally wins everything.
It's like he's made of Velcro, isn't it? You know what I mean? No matter where the ball goes on him, it just somehow he gets it.
That's why I say Flanagan, because what I've noticed during games is Flanagan, every single time he seems to clear it and get it towards Ross Stewart, it's like it's perfect, like right in his where Ross Stewart wants it all the time. And I think that's sort of them two players work really, really well together when we're playing it from the back and to the front as well. So yeah, look, I think I can make do with losing Dayaku. I reckon that's probably maybe even doing us a favour, to be honest with you. Dayaku not being available. I think I heard Alves has maybe got COVID as well. I think that's too much as well.
It's more bodies that sort of absence.
Yeah. Well, exactly, yeah. But I think as long as we have our main players, Pritchard, Embleton, Ross Stewart, maybe that Dry Hume is going to be available.
Yeah, he should be available, shouldn't he? Which is
exactly.
Yeah.
Listen,
we'll get on the January transfers.
As long as it wasn't like that AFC Wimbledon game last season where 11 of our first team were just unavailable to play and it was a complete mess. I can do with like 3 or 4 players. I have faith in this squad that we're a big enough squad and good enough to get through this. So yeah, no, I'm not too worried about it.
Right, Ben, tell us, what do you think? COVID, thumbs up or thumbs down?
I mean, I pretty much agree with everything that's been said, to be honest. I mean, we've got a style of play at the minute and everyone seems to be sort of adopting into that. It's a good chance for some of these young lads, if they do start, or certainly they might come off on the bench, to prove themselves. I know Diamond's, scored a few goals, not really heard that much from Hawks. Obviously, Patterson's seems to be getting very high praise from Notts County if he does start, or if he's on the bench, we won't see him. But I mean, it's one of them, innit? I think we can only speculate of like who's out, and we can only wait until 11:30 tomorrow when the team sheet's released, and then we can really see, what sort of, what team it is and that. But on the whole, I'm not really too fussed. I think we should be able to cope.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So we're approaching 5 to 8, and I know Gary has to get off pretty sharpish at 8 o'clock. So
wow, that time's gone quick.
It's certainly time flies when you're having fun, mate. That's what it is. So I'll throw it over to you first, then, Gary. Obviously, we've broached it a few times. We're in January now. Pretty much exactly a week into January, we've made our first full signing. Try Hume coming in for a fee believed to be around £200,000, I think. League of Ireland, the Northern Irish League, I think record fee received for a player. Yeah. So what are your thoughts? Positive? Heard much about him?
I don't know much about him, I've got to be honest, but what I've heard this week has been positive.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's always untried. It's little things that impress me. The fact that we've tracked him since summer, that tells me we've done our due diligence. This is not just a spur of the moment thing. We've checked him out and he's part of the longer term. And also the length of the contract, I think it's 4 years, something.
4.5 years.
4.5. So it's effectively a 5-year contract, isn't it?
So we think there's sufficient there to tie him to the club, and for a fairly long-term period. So that's great. I know you've not mentioned it, but the fact that Roberts is possibly coming in as well.
Yeah.
Again, linked. I don't know enough about him. I've not seen a lot of him, but he's got that reputation.
Yeah.
And again, I mean, I was so delighted. Our recruitment has been so awful for years. You know, you think back to that summer where we're pinning all our hopes on bloody Danny Graham and Aidan O'Brien, and you've got to wonder about that scouting system that came up.
Yeah.
Well, there can't have been one, can there?
Well, I mean, that's just you couldn't have made it much worse. And then like I said in the quiz, you know, last year, it's like, well, who's this Ross Stewart? Well, actually, he's been superb. Who's this Carl Winchester? Well, actually, he's been one of the players of the season for me.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, and then the players in the summer, been absolutely delighted with them.
Yeah.
You know, Doyle. I think Diaku's coming good. Pritchard has been fantastic the last 3-4 matches. So it is all coming together for me. And it's the fact that we seem to be buying the right people at the right time. I mean, clearly, if you're talking positions, there's a gaping hole, and you've already inferred that it's up front, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we've got a problem. The fact he let Will Harris go the other day led me to believe that we must have something lined up in that department.
Absolutely,
Firepower. And hopefully that's the marquee signing that's going to come in. So fingers crossed in the next couple of weeks that will happen. But I feel really good about our recruitment at the moment because probably Alves apart, everybody we brought in the summer has been good, has settled.
Yeah, I would fully agree with that. And even when you say Alves is the only one who hasn't really done anything, it's nice for our worst signing to be someone who hasn't really played, rather than our worst signing be that guy we were pinning all our hopes on to be the heartbeat of the side, who's turned out to be an absolute donkey, which we've had probably a dozen times in the past 6 transfer windows. Right, Ben, what do you think? Try future incomings.
I saw a lot of stuff about him on Twitter, people saying, you know, he's a good prospect and all of this, and you know, people combining like highlight videos of all of his best moments when he was at Linfield and all of that. So
highlight videos for a fullback.
19 years old, you know. But from what I've seen, he looks all right. Watched his interview when he came, and he said, and the guy was like, "Oh, you know, what can we expect from you?" And he said, "Well, I like going forward. I feel like I'm comfortable on the ball, and I love a good tackle." And I thought, sounds all right to me. Do you know?
He's pretty much nailed the basics of being a modern fullback, hasn't he?
Tackle, don't we? Really, we like someone that's going to be a bit aggressive and a bit of physicality. So, from what I've seen, what I've heard, he seems like he could be one that could be with us for a long time. And he can also play in midfield as well. So that could also be a nice little sort of card if you want to deal that. Maybe him and Winchester swap now and again. Who knows? But Gary said, you know, about Roberts, he's sort of one of them players that were signed for a lot of money, not really done much. If he comes, I think it'd be a great sign. It'd be a great sort of time for him to impress himself and just try and get his career back on track, really.
Well, we've seen with Pritchard, haven't we? Obviously, to a bit of a different degree later in his career. We've seen that for once, actually, maybe we could be the club where somebody turns up a few years after having been the next whoever and actually gets things, you know, going in the right direction again, which would be a massive positive. Because I think, you know, like you say, that would be a good signing for us because he clearly does have massive amounts of ability. You don't get signed for multi-million pounds from Man City if you're Milton Nunes. So yeah. I agree with that. Yeah, totally agree.
So I still think we need to strengthen. We definitely need a striker, maybe a centre half, and then a midfielder. And I think I'd be relatively happy with that.
Yeah,
I'm going to drop off if that's okay, chaps, because I need to play my usual dad's taxi role, which is a full-time job. Just in terms of the team tomorrow, I'll leave this little conundrum with you, whether he changes a winning team or not. Let's say, for example, we do have at least a full-strength first 11. I think he might revert to 4-3-3 tomorrow. I think he might bring Winchester in, if fit. Drop Diaku, because as Matt said, might not be the game for him. And I think he might also bring Sirkin in, just to bolster that back four, somebody more defensively minded. Whether that leaves space for Gooch, I don't know. But I think he might go 4-3-3 tomorrow because who we're playing against, and we were bullied earlier on in the season. and a bit naive, and we can't take that risk again tomorrow. So that's my prediction. I'll do my famous prediction that always involves a 1-1 draw. Blame that on Jack Ross because I'm scarred. If I predicted anything other than a 1-1 draw, then I wasn't usually too far wrong. But yeah, that's what I'll go for. But it's a massive game tomorrow, I think. And if we're sat here next Friday talking about a win at Wycombe, then I think we can really look forward to the rest of the season with optimism. So there you go. I'm leaving you an optimistic note.
Blimey, feeling all right, Gary?
No,
You've got to go drive now.
Make sure you get that meter running on your taxi, Gary.
Hope the police are not watching. Right, have a great weekend, guys.
Right, you too,
crossed the
mate.
3 points. See you
best,
later.
Take care, guys.
See you, Gary. Thank you.
Right, well, Matthew. So
Yeah.
Thoughts on the transfer window, and you can be the first to tackle Gary's little conundrum. Too many G's.
There's so many G's, yeah. Way too many.
So, lay it on us.
What I think of the transfer window, listen, we've only signed one player so far. I think it's really good. The fact that I think I heard quite a lot of a few other teams were looking at Hume as well, which, to show that, he's come to Sunderland, and, that's really, really good. He's a young player, 19, and I think maybe, like last season we might have thought signing this, 19-year-old for a fee and all of this just seems ridiculous. But if he's anything like Callum Doyle or Dennis Sirkin, and we've also got.
If he's even half the player Callum Doyle is, he'll fit in.
Brilliantly. Exactly, yeah, 100%, yeah. And you know what, it might take him a few games to get used to it and get going. But you know what, I'm sure once he'll be absolutely fine. I'm pretty confident, to be honest with you, in sort of like Christian Speakman and Lee Johnson and that kind of recruitment, sort of the team that they've got going on, the system that they're doing, the data stuff. It seems to be working, really, really well. I think, we've signed a lot of young players, and I think the only sort of older one that we signed really, obviously, Pritchard and, but Pritchard, I think, was Lee Johnson signing. It wasn't like Christian Speakman signing. It was sort of the only one that was Lee Johnson. Lee Johnson believed in him.
I also think Pritchard on a free is basically a no-brainer for a League One side.
Oh yeah, and
if we shelled out 500 grand for him, maybe.
Maybe, but I mean, I think even after that, if he gets us promoted with his goals and assists, I think it's even.
It would have been worth it if it worked out. I just mean, if you'd spend $500,000 on him and then he turns out to still have knees made of crisp packets, then you're thinking that 500 grand could have maybe gone somewhere else.
Well, of course, and I think Lee Johnson said, that Alex Pritchard was some of the best business in the league, to get him here on a free, which is really, really good. But, I think, we signed Corey Evans, who, is a different player to these young players, but he's a very, he's got sort of a walking sick note in a way, but when he has played, especially in the last game against Sheffield Wednesday, I think he's had a really good, calm influence on the team. Yeah. I think he's played really, really, really well. He very rarely loses the ball. He kind of, whenever everything's sort of going on, he gets the ball and he kind of knows what he's going to do. I don't expect him to score a belter outside the box or, do something like that.
For that, haven't you?
Well, of course, yeah, you have. But he's someone that you kind of need in your team who, is you can rely on. If something doesn't quite work, you try and pass the ball to someone, they try and make a run, it doesn't work, and you've got to move the ball on. You give it to Corey Evans, and you'll probably be all right. So I think he's really good to have in the team.
I think that word you use as well, calm, sums him up as a player, and also it sums up that's the element that you want to get in and around these young players that were brought in, because that's something that was missing in some of the games where we got beat and it ended up turning into a hammering. So Portsmouth the 4, we had the 5-1, the 3-0 against Sheffield Wednesday. I think those sorts of games, if you look around you and you're 18, 19 years old, maybe it's 20, and you've not played a lot of senior football, you're looking around, it's very easy to lose your head a little bit. And it becomes very much like a team of 11 adrift men looking for life rafts rather than 11 footballers just trying to keep a shape together.
Oh, you're right. I think I noticed when we played Portsmouth a few seasons ago, and Denver Hume was in a good run of form at the time. You know, he really was. He was playing really well. I think we beat Wickham 4-0 actually at home, and he scored a goal in that game. He was on fire. Played against Portsmouth, and he started off the game like he normally does, but as it went on, he just couldn't handle playing there. He couldn't handle their fans. He just couldn't handle it. And I think that's the difference between the young players and the older players. Tomorrow's game is going to be one of those games where you're going to want to call upon your more experienced players. You're going to want to call upon your more big and physical players. Ross Stewart, Corey Evans is straight in there for me. Carl Winchester straight in there again. He's
Winchester has to, probably first name on the team sheet.
Oh, definitely. Do you know what as well? An example, I think he'd be brilliant in the game tomorrow against Ipswich. Although, yes, okay, it was a 1-1 draw, and I don't think we started off very well. But for me, he was our man of the match. He threw himself at everything. He closed down everything. He ran his socks off, and he was so passionate. Like when someone didn't quite pass the way he wanted it to, he was screaming. He was waving his arms. At one point as well, he turned to Lee Johnson and just started, waving his arms at Lee Johnson, screaming at Lee Johnson, and Lee Johnson was screaming back. But
a few of us could have done that earlier on in the season, couldn't we?
Yeah. No, but I think it wasn't like he was angry with him. I think it was just
just a display of passion.
It was passion.
That's what you want, isn't it?
And to see that, from Winchester and from Lee Johnson as well, which was good. But for me, he's got to start tomorrow, and look, it's going to be difficult for these young players. This is going to be a really, really difficult game for them. That's why I think Deyaku should miss it out. But no, sorry. Going back to your original question, there, if try Hume, however you say his first name, if he's anything like sort of Sirkin or Doyle or Huggins or anyone like that, he's got a very bright future ahead of him, and to get him on a fee clearly means we believe in him. So I'm really happy with that sign, and hopefully we can just get Patrick Roberts in next, which will be another really good signing, because I think he spent a lot of his career out on loan places, and I imagine that's very frustrating for a player, because you just want to be settled in one club in one place. 24 years old now, I think he is. So
I believe he's just turned 24, hasn't he?
If he can come here and get settled and just get going, get on form, get fit, then we've got ourselves a really good player. But I think we just need to get that one over the line, and sort of whatever comes from that, a striker. I'm sure we're bringing a striker. Harris gone out on loan, so Roberts, striker, and I think we'll be all right.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're right what you say at the end there as well. The two major positions to look at are obviously striker, and then I mean, to be honest, I'd have even said right back might have even been more of a pressing concern than anywhere else as well. Right back and striker, we've moved quickly to get Hume in. Like you said, we've been looking at him for a while, so clearly they've identified that area of the team as an issue, which is nice to actually have a bit of forward planning in the club. And they say the right things and make the right noises, and at this point they've backed it up with stuff both on and off the pitch, so long may it continue. And as much as I had criticisms of Lee Johnson earlier in the season, I do still have some reservations. Long may this run of form continue, because he's absolutely putting a smile on my face every week, and if he gets us promoted, I'll give him a full wholehearted apology for ever doubting in any of his capabilities.
That's exactly it. I think anyone can come into a football club and they can talk the talk. They can, the
last lot did, didn't they? They talked a great game at the beginning.
Oh, you sat there and you listen to podcasts and you talk and you think, oh, this sounds brilliant. And then when it actually comes to it, where did we get to? We actually probably ended up in a worse like place. So when they left Sunderland, we were worse off, So look, I think at least Lee Johnson has come in, his staff has come in, Christian Speakman and KOD, and they're what they're saying, that it's coming through, like they're actually doing it, which is really, really good to see. And if you think these players who are 19, 20 years old, how well they're performing now, they're only going to get better. So, if they can win the league this season, or just finish second, I don't want to be bothering with playoffs again. But if they can do that at this age, then they can do it in the Championship. They'll get older, they'll get better. And
world's at the feet if they do it this season, isn't it? Really?
Of course, yeah. It'll be fantastic, and we brought them in because we want to get promoted this season. Our plan isn't, oh, we'll bring these players in. If we don't get promoted this season, it doesn't matter. We'll do it next year. Or it doesn't matter. We'll definitely do it next. We'll get promoted this year. There's no other option. So these players are brought in to do that. So hopefully it all works out. But I've got faith.
Fingers crossed. There.
That's why I was Lee Johnson in during the bad run because I had faith in him.
Yeah. All right, Matthew.
and also because we won the Papa John's Trophy, Johnny, as well.
Oh yeah. Don't start. Ben, any final thoughts before we wrap up? It's 8:10 now, so we've gone slightly over, but I think we've covered pretty much everything we needed to speak about.
Not really. I think, keep the faith. I think this is the season. I think we haven't got all them games in hand, certainly not now, that we have had for the past 2 seasons with cups and all of this, cancelled games, internationals. So I think that's going to definitely work in our favour. And I'm a bit worried for Wigan. And for a couple of others, even though they've got about 3 or 4 games in hand, they're all going to come pretty quick.
Saying how we can bite you, can't we?
Well, don't we know it these past couple of seasons when we've always, get all the games at the end of the season and, we bottled it the past couple of times. So
yeah, big time.
It's looking good, and that's all I can say. It's looking good. We're getting there. We're getting there finally.
Concise, but well put, and I couldn't agree more. We're getting there finally, eventually. Right. Well, it's been a pleasure speaking to you once again, lads. Well, for the first time to Ben over a call. It's been a pleasure, and it's been absolutely lovely to again not say everyone, but to say everyone's messages in the chat, and I hope everyone's enjoyed the show. And fingers crossed that we take a positive result away from Wickham tomorrow. And mind you, don't go near that car park because there's no spaces there.
No spaces. I don't even know where I'm going to park tomorrow. And do you know what? As well, it's obviously I've moved to Sunderland now, and I think that's amazing and stuff. And I've looked and think, oh my god, these away games are going to be. These are going to be torture.
A sleepless night for you tonight, thinking about where to park.
Oh well, and I got me up about 5:30 in the morning to get there on time.
Oh, devastation! It's all worth it though when we get the 3 points tomorrow.
Yeah,
well,
right.
So.
Right, good stuff. Good night, everyone.
See you later.
See you later.